Hello and welcome. I am Sabeen Mushtaq and you are watching Business Pakistan. The disbursement of credit to the agriculture sector by commercial and specialized bank has shown an impressive growth of 30.39% year-on-year basis during the first 11 months of the current fiscal year. Details in this report.
Banks have disbursed a combined total of 184.892 billion rupees to the agriculture sector during July to May period as compared to 141.798 billion rupees in the same period last year, showing an absolute increase of 43.09 billion rupees overall credit disbursement by 5 major commercial banks including Allied Bank Limited, Habib Bank Limited, MCB Bank, National Bank of Pakistan and United Bank Limited stood at 85.584 billion rupees during the first 11 months of the current fiscal year, compared with rupees 68.029 billion during the corresponding period last year, depicting an increase of rupees 17.56 billion in absolute term or 25.81%. The Zarai Taraqqiyati Bank Limited, the largest specialized bank, has disbursed 56.072 billion rupees in July to May period, compared with 47.003 billion rupees last year, while disbursement by the Punjab Provincial Cooperative Bank Limited stood at rupees 4.338 billion as compared with rupees 5.978 billion last year. Besides, 14 domestic private banks also loaned combined 38.898 billion rupees during July to May period, up 87.11% when compared with 20.788 billion rupees disbursed last year. It may be recalled that the State Bank of Pakistan has set an indicative target of rupees 200 billion for the current fiscal year, up from rupees 160 billion in the last fiscal year, showing an increase of 40 billion rupees. During the last fiscal year, the commercial and specialized banks had disbursed a total of 168.83 billion rupees to the agriculture sector.
Finance Minister Naveed Qamar said that it has been decided to gradually transfer funds of various ministries and departments from commercial banks to State Bank. Zobia Zaman files this report.
Mr. Naveed Qamar said unutilized money for various projects of different ministries and departments remain deposited in commercial banks while the government has to borrow money from banks at high interest rate. The decision, he added, will help reduce government borrowing. The minister said microfinancing will be spread to the small towns and far-flung areas of the country, as it would be instrumental in providing employment and huge resources will be diverted towards it. He said it was for the first time that the defence budget was presented in the Parliament with the support of the Prime Minister and the 3 services chiefs. He complimented the members for a thorough debate on defence budget and said they all kept the national security and interests supreme, adding the elected representatives of the people were patriotic. The minister vowed that the government will build on transparency not only for armed forces but all the institutions. Qamar said Pakistan was a strong country with a great future and also a resilient economy. He, however, said the poverty and unemployment cannot go away with an executive order but needed concerted efforts and strong policies.
Qatar Islamic Bank resumed the process to set up its Islamic banking operations in Pakistan with an investment of $100 million. CNBC spoke to Mr. Chaudhry Mohammad Wasi, who is GM Projects Group at Qatar Islamic Bank, and discussed Pakistan's potential for foreign investment. Let's find out what he has to say.
Qatar Islamic Bank is started. We applied to State Bank of Pakistan, and due to some political unrest in Pakistan, our board had certain apprehension, so we hold it for some time. Now we see that things are getting normal, so we are reviving the process. So it will take its own course of time, and we need to complete certain requirement of State Bank of Pakistan. We are starting with a $100 million bank, which is not the current, but in 2009 or 2010 will be the capital requirement for a bank in Pakistan. And in addition to that, we have aggressive plan. We would like to do the major financing. We will start with a corporate and investment bank, and after 2 or 3 years, we will try to run into a complete full-fledged retail bank. If we critically review it and if we apply all these standards of investment appraisals, the answer may not be very much encouraging, but as things are started improving over here, our management and board believes that we should go to Pakistan and we should establish a bank over here. Let me explain to you, we are not branching out over here. We are coming with a consortium of banks from Qatar and GCC countries. So we would like to establish a bank over here, which is a greenfield operation, an Islamic bank. And we are confident that State Bank will consider our application. As soon as we comply with all their requirements, they will give us a permission to start it. Pakistan, we consider number one is that in terms of corporate financing, we would like to promote Sukuk financing, which is Islamic bond and getting popularity. And in terms of IMF, I understand that the current market is about $100 billion, which is likely to increase up to $150 billion in next 2 to 3 years. So Sukuk is one of the area where we would like to. Number two, then we would like to also involve ourselves in terms of investment banking, where we're talking about funds, establishing funds. We have been doing in Qatar over the next 15 years. We have established a number of real estate funds and will continue doing it over here in Pakistan.
In order to improve reliability and efficiency of power supply, World Bank approved $256.85 million credit and loan to the government of Pakistan. Our correspondent from Islamabad files this report.
Poor electricity service has been identified by the World Bank, a major constraint in the country's overall sustained economic growth. To improve the service, the bank has approved a loan of $256.8 million for Pakistan. The Electricity Distribution and Transmission Improvement Project aims to improve distribution and transmission networks to meet this rising electricity demand in the country. The project will also help strengthen institutional capacity of electricity distribution companies. The bank says the country's transmission and distribution networks are overloaded, underinvested, and undermaintained. They are marred with high technical and commercial losses. The bank says the electricity sales have risen by 40% in the past 5 years. Generation capacity remained practically stagnant. It is estimated that the system lacks about 2,000 megawatts to cover peak demand with acceptable reliability. Improving electricity distribution and transmission services is a key element of the overall effort of reforming Pakistan's power sector and strengthening its operating performance.
It's now time for our weekly look at Pakistan's leading capital market, the Karachi Stock Exchange. For that, we'll go to Furqan Ayub. Over to you, Furqan.
Thanks, Sabine. This week as well, we saw the Karachi Stock Exchange declining extremely rapidly. The decline was over 1,000 points. As you can see, the total decline was 1,286 points, and in percentage terms, it was 9.9%. Towards the end of the week, the decline became more and more rapid. Volumes remained low. The oil stocks once again showed far more resistance than some of the other stocks. OGDC was one of the stocks which declined, but not as massively as the market did. Now, we've seen oil prices still relatively higher. I mean, we've seen oil pretty much stay above the $125 a barrel for a while now. And as you can see, 7.3% was the decline that we saw for OGDC as well. This is one of the stocks which has a higher dividend yield, and that's what we've seen in Karachi recently, where the dividend yield stocks have resisted far more. Pak oil fields declined by 9.9% despite the fact that we've seen oil prices stay at very high levels. Pakistan Petroleum this week announced a massive dividend of 10.5 rupees per share, which did help the stock to some extent. But again, this stock also witnessed a decline overall. So the oil and gas exploration sector pretty much stayed under pressure. Now, as you can see, Pakistan Petroleum declined the least compared to the other two oil companies. Now, This stock is also trading, according to the consensus forecast that we are getting, it's trading at a multiple of somewhere around 9. Pakistan Oil Fields is also trading at a multiple of 9, and OGTC is somewhere around a multiple of 10. So most of these stocks have traded at multiples of 11 and 12. So extremely attractive according to the analyst community in Pakistan. National Bank of Pakistan has come down. I mean, as you can see, the decline was 18%. 31 rupees and 52 paisas was the overall decline for National Bank of Pakistan. After the measures that the State Bank took with monetary tightening and CRR requirement and SLR requirement was increased, which has had an impact on the banking sector in the recent times now. MCB Bank was another bank which has declined by 15% this week. So the banking stocks have just continued going downwards, and MCB Bank has an extremely probably the best asset quality in the banking sector, but still we saw the stock declining by 15%. Some of the other banking stocks, now Bank of Punjab is trading below its book value. Now the book value is somewhere around the range of 36 to 38. Obviously we have different assumptions as far as the analysts are concerned, but the stock is trading below its book value. Of course, the bank recently, the management has been under severe criticism, and that has also led to the stock come down at an extremely rapid pace. Now some of the other stocks, Faisal Bank has also come down by 6.3%. So pretty much this week we saw banks coming down at more than 5 to 6, perhaps even around 15 to 18%. So the pressure on the banking sector has played a huge role in the market coming down. Now, if we move on to cements, DG Khan Cement declined by 19.9%. Now, this is a cement company, and it also has a big investment portfolio because it's a large group. DG Khan Cement is in the company's management also has some of the other companies. So as you can see, DG Khan Cement declined by 19.9%. Lucky Cement was one company which resisted the overall pressure in the market and declined by only 0.3%. It is an export-oriented company, but once again, the pressure got to this company as well. But because the market declined massively, we saw the stock declining somewhat less. Now, Pioneer Cement was another cement company which is very, very leveraged, declined by 7.1%. It's trading around 2 times its book value, and analysts do believe that despite the decline, it's still trading at a higher valuation compared to some of the other cement companies. National Refinery, perhaps one of the only few companies which actually did well this week. We saw an increase of 0.7%, 2 rupees and 16 paisas up. There has been a lot of talk about the margins of refineries, that they might be changed, but and that's one of the reasons why Pakistan Refinery, the other refinery in Pakistan, witnessed a decline of 17.4%. So refineries also stayed under pressure, except a National Refinery. Attak Refinery also declined by 14.5%. So the regulatory risk has played a huge role in refineries coming down. Engro also has come down by 13.9%. Recently we've seen foreign selling, and foreign interest has been very, very subdued in the recent past, and Engro has been the favorite of the foreign investors in the recent past. So again, now this stock is trading around 14 to 15 times its book value, but we saw 153% growth in their earnings as well, and the budget was very pro the agriculture sector. So again, has come down massively. Fauji Fertilizer bin Qasim, another fertilizer company, it's the only DAP producer in Pakistan, also witnessed a decline of 10.4%. So Fauji Fertilizer bin Qasim, the fertilizer stocks had also resisted the pressure, but that wasn't the case this week. Fauji Fertilizer Company has usually had a dividend payout ratio of over 100%, and we saw Fauji Fertilizer Company also witnessing a decline of 3.6%. So overall, fertilizer stocks stayed under pressure. Oil stocks also remain under pressure, and banking and cements, these two sectors have been under relentless pressure in the last couple of weeks. It's back to you, Sabine.
It's time to head to a break now. Keep watching Business Pakistan.